The early vote is telling me that the electoral college map that I have pathed out for each candidate is still holding strong and looks correct. So I expect Donald Trump to win Nevada. I expect Donald Trump to win North Carolina and Georgia. The last two are pickups. Arizona, Georgia, and Nevada are all pickups for Donald Trump this year that I'm expecting, and that's what early voting is showing. There's a lot of different opinion out there. John Ralston, who is excellent in Nevada, is saying that Kamala Harris is going to win by 0.3% in Nevada. And of course, Democrats have eked out wins in the state of Nevada for the last two cycles. And that's based off of sort of the legacy of the Harry Reid machine. And Jackie Rosen continues to pull well ahead of her competitor in the state at the Senate level. What you're seeing in Nevada and Arizona is actually that 15% of the Republican constituency in those two states are voting for the Democratic Senate candidate. So if there's crossover that early vote can't pick up, I don't know how you voted. I just know that you did vote. If there's crossover amongst Republicans into the Harris camp, that is that's going to be a surprise that is not registered either in the polls, which are finding everything sort of neck and neck. And it's not going to be something that we know from the early vote because we don't know how you voted. So that could be a shift that we see on election night. But my expectation is that they both go for Trump. But overarchingly, I still anticipate that Harris will win Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, and that gets her 270 electoral college votes. And that's why my odds are 60% that she will win.
Interesting. Henrietta, we had a poll come out in the last couple of days from the state of Iowa. That was surprising for a lot of people, showing that Vice President Harris leading in that state, which typically is a Republican state. What did you make of that poll, and what does that tell you?
It really reinforces the story of this election cycle. There's been a tremendous amount of focus on the Black and Latino youth vote, and specifically the youth male vote, and how there's been a draw away from the Democratic Party and towards the Republican Party. What I think that whole conversation has missed is that the story of elections is really the suburbs. The suburbs vote the most. They are the arbiters of the election cycle. So in 2016, they swung 4 points for Donald Trump. In 2020, they swung 2 points for Joe Biden, and they decided the outcome of the election. Right now, in critical states like Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the Philadelphia suburbs are going strongly for Kamala Harris. And so the story of the Seltzer poll, I thought, was fascinating, that 23% of the Iowa voters in the suburbs plus 23 for Kamala Harris. That's an indicator that the suburb story is correct. And I think we can translate that nationwide. I don't expect Kamala Harris to win Iowa, but the story of the suburbs is what I really want to focus on when I see that poll and then transcribe to swing states.
How have each candidates kind of catered towards that suburban vote? Are there certain issues that you studied that resonate more with the suburban voters that the candidates have been, I guess, trying to touch on?
Democracy, this concept of democracy being on the ballot is a really big deal in the suburbs. They think that issue is critical. And then beyond that, you have abortion that Democrats try to hammer home. And on the right, you have immigration. It's really those top three issues. The economy is important, but it's such a misleading or misguiding polling question these days, because your view of the economy is mostly defined by whether you support Joe Biden or Donald Trump. Biden's administration or Trump on the campaign trail. So if you side with either of those two parties, that dictates your view of how the economy is going. I think now that inflation has been tamped down and gas prices are back well below their 2022 levels and are down now to $3 or less nationwide on average, it's a opportunity for the two campaigns to talk about other issues besides just the economy. And we see abortion, immigration leading, and then democracy in these suburbs is really critical.